Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot. Just a few months ago, we were seeing absolutely every single altcoin bleeding. We are still not out of the woods, but many people have been asking me, regardless of how tough it has been the situation, can you pick at least 3 coins that are showing additional resilience? And I wouldn't say that these 3 altcoins that I'm gonna present today are necessarily the top 3 across all the coins, but definitely they are one of the first ones that are starting to show signs of reversals. In this video, I'm gonna cover these 3 altcoins one by one, looking at the technicals. I'm gonna bring technicals from other analysts. I'll give you my take on what I think about what they're saying. I'll put an emphasis on socials, liquidation levels, catalysts, and even fundamentals. Guys, if you like this type of content, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I put out one of these videos. And look, I'm about to put my video number 944. Each video takes a lot of effort, and I don't want to smash that in your face, but it will be really generous from you if you hit the like before watching the video. Write down below a comment. All of this really helps the channel, you wouldn't believe it. Let's say 1,000 videos and let's trade it for 1,000 likes. Alright, let's go with the first coin. This coin is Algorand. Let's see where we are trading in this cycle. You can see that we have reached 61 cents, give or take. That was around the 2nd of December in 2024. It's been putting higher highs so far, higher lows as well. If you take the lows of 2023, you can see that we were very close to pinch that, but actually we stopped slightly above. And then these highs are also defending that structure so far. But if we look at the previous bull market, you can tell that Algorand is very compressed. Around August 2020, before the next impulsive moves, we were already trading at higher prices than what we are doing in this cycle. Focusing on the most recent price action, you can see that we are still inside a bull flag. If we extend this line of resistance in here, you can tell that we are approaching it for a potential price breakout. That still hasn't happened. We are currently defending the support at 16 cents, which are the highs of the accumulation prior to the breakout in November 2024. We can also tell that this accumulation took around 147 days. If this was our accumulation level, we've been around this area for 50 days, and so far, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks that we cannot break the resistance. We can call this resistance the 20 cents resistance, although it's slightly below in my opinion, and it was resistance as well around April in 2024. That is the resistance that caused the price to collapse an additional 50% precisely from the 20 cent resistance that we started respecting after these 2 highs. So it is very, very tough resistance. That's why we are still trapped in there. So you might be wondering, then why are you bringing Algorand in here? What is it so special about it? And I think it's a matter of timing. In this channel, I want to make sure that when we are meeting the crossroads, when there is a decision being made, you are well aware, particularly if the significance of the direction of that decision can be completely white or black. In this case, you can see that after this correction from RSIs of over 85 to 40, that's a range of 45 in the RSI weekly, we had a breakout over the line, but this came back down into 40s. Since then, it had moved into a revenge rally at the 44. And as we are speaking, you can see that that level is being challenged. If we reclaim that level, that is a level that we defended from June 2024 up until March. So it's a long time that we lost that level. And of course, it is a strong resistance. It's a weekly resistance. And it's the difference between, falling into a bear market in here and just staying in an accumulation sideways like we did in 2024 before shooting back up, or confirming the breakout, confirming the reclaim of the support. You can tell that the longs had been squashed. 50% of them have been removed. We had a breakdown in here. We are still not getting into 31 though. The last time we were at those levels was in June 2023. But that time we came back down 55%, but not from as high as 82, just from 74. So if we shift that and we did an additional 55 points from here, we could place it at 37. The lows have been 41, so we are entering the area of value. Things could get defined very shortly after if we were to repeat the same performance of this area. Once you hit lows and there is a shift between longs and shorts and you start a channel to the upside, you can tell about the timing. That happened around 10 cents and that turned into a 500 upside move from that time. Of course, I'm not trying to tell you that we are at the same stage in the cycle, right? This is August 2023. We're now in 2025 in a topping year. We are looking for last impulsive moves if we can get the liquidity from the global M2 and other factors to help with the magnitude of a potential breakout. When it comes to socials, you can see that we are at 26. We have had way lower than that. And before the breakout, the socials were at 11. So a little bit lower, we could say closer to the lower band in here. But again, we are getting closer. We're going in that direction. And nothing is going to be as perfect, not even the confluence of all the factors, but you need to admit that there is a time window that is currently opening and the factors may produce confluence but with slight delays in time. Let's have a quick look at the ideas from other traders. Let's see if we need to challenge them, if we agree. Here we have a bullish continuation. This trader is saying that this is a confirmed breakout. This is on the 4-hour. We have seen similar moves on Bitcoin, so probably Algorand is mimicking that. We have targets of 19 and 21 cents. Here we have a setup that is calling first for a visit to 11 cents. Going beyond 00988 is being referred as an invalidation level. And I completely agree, probably at that point we are too deep in a bear market to recover and continue in a bull market. Let's have a look at liquidation levels. We have a cluster around the 20s, and I think for a short-term scalp, getting in there, it wouldn't be that much difficult. We have risk around 17 cents, and of course below this double bottom, below the 14 cents, there must be liquidity that for some reason CoinGlass is not showing. Unfortunately, I cannot go to trading different because it doesn't offer these particular assets. After we go beyond the 23, we could say cents, then we have a big cluster around the 31 cents that we've been visiting multiple times, and that's why there is so much accumulation of liquidity from shorts. After that, we need to go from 40 to 50 cents to take the big cluster in there. And I wouldn't be surprised that in order to get there, we need really Bitcoin to go back into the 100K. Not necessarily an all-time high, but at least have a decent leg up to support the idea of Algorand again meeting with those levels. In past cycles, it was very typical that for every single move up of an altcoin, you needed Bitcoin prior to that to make a push up. But this has been the cycle that is going to be always remembered as the cycle that completely crashed all the longs when it comes to altcoins. And there are plenty of examples of altcoins that after Bitcoin moves up, they still don't move up. And we need to remember that in this cycle, we have institutions driving the price up. Those same institutions that have the cash to do that are not necessarily interested in your altcoin. And the retail that is supposed to be trading the altcoins do not have liquidity enough to move all the different altcoins with all the dilution as well, so many different coins to trade. You end up with a situation that you're grabbing too much and you don't have enough power to squeeze. Algorand in the liquidation map past 30 days, we can see some interesting levels is the 20 cents. I think is the low hanging fruit in here. And given that it's larger than the lower end in the past 30 days, this bullishness on Bitcoin could make it an interesting target for a short-term trade. After that, we see a diminishing amount of liquidation pools on the upside. Highlights of what's going on with ALGO. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. ALGO price rebounds 36%, faces key resistance. And now I'm wondering, what is that key resistance? They grabbed my attention. ALGO completed a WXYXZ correction. A 5-wave impulse suggests that a bullish reversal may be starting. Correction towards 0.16 could be complete wave C before breakout. Well, I thought that they were talking about key resistance. I guess they mean about the falling wedge. Let's remember that Bitcoin on the daily already broke out from there, and the top of the wedge on ALGO is around the 20 cents. We got some other bullish news. Nubank adds ALGO to crypto offerings on March 26. Brazilian neobank Nubank, serving over 85 million customers, expanded its cryptocurrency services to include ALGO, along with ADA, NIR, and Atom. This move enhances ALGO's accessibility, of course, in Latin America. I wonder if that bank is also available in other countries. I guess it's just Brazilian. Algorand launches AlgoKit 3.0 with TypeScript support. This update aims to attract a broader range of Web3 developers by offering more versatile development tools. Algo surges 16%, well, that's kind of the same. Analysts highlight Algo as top altcoin to watch. On Lunar Crash, we can see what's up. It says Algorand is leading the way in real-world assets. RWA tokenization, with various projects and use cases being built on its blockchain, including the FIFA World Cup tickets, carbon credits, gold, and medical imaging data. The platform is also seeing significant growth in its ecosystem. The new projects and partnerships being announced, such as the Algorand Accelerator, the Web3 Masterclasses. Additionally, Algorand focus on security, finality, and compliance is making it a go-to for tokenization real-world assets. You can see that Lunar Crash is also highlighting as hot sectors in the past 24 hours the Algorand ecosystem. So in summary, for me, Algorand needs to prove that it can break out from beyond the RSI of 43. When it comes to the price, it needs to prove that it can break beyond the 20 cents. Those two things combined give a stronger argument for the full breakout of the bull flag. The bull flag target, the full target, it's around 64 cents. But we are not going to get a higher high on Algorand if general markets and in general all the altcoin market has some room to grow. In the interim, I will be looking into 27 cents, followed by 40 cents. If by then things shift and we see altcoins having finally their turn during this cycle, yeah, of course, then we can go back to the actual target of the bull flag, the extension of 1, which is around the 68 cents, and the golden Fibonacci around $1. And of course, I don't even want to give you the full bullish targets if we can get a higher price than in 2021, because I don't want you to throw the remote at my face as you're watching this video. Let's go to the next coin. This one is ONDO, and we have a very similar situation in here. You're going to notice that they share a pattern there. That pattern, we can call it some resilience relative to the rest of the market. We can see that ONDO as well lost the support, went to 72 cents. That is equivalent precisely in here, same moves. They're very coupled, we could say. We also have higher highs and higher lows. We have a loss in here of the momentum, then we have a breakout, and then approaching into the revenge rally. In this case, the revenge rally takes us into 1.15. The next resistance is 112 from the point of view of the price. We already had a setup in here that we said if we close beyond the 88 cents, we could enter into a long targeting 125. But that still hasn't happened. We are still seeing rejections for multiple times, in this case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th week that we tried to break that 89 cents, 90 cents. And definitely it has been the difference between being sideways for ONDO, below that resistance of 90 cents, in here and in here, versus actually breaking out. First breakout, second breakout. Here we are trying to repeat the same recipe. In terms of longs versus shorts, you can see that ONDO has already started accumulating longs again, but from 55. ONDO is one of those coins where the longs have been a lot more persistent. Going from 75 into 54 is very small pullback of longs versus shorts relative to the rest of the market. In terms of the socials, there's still a way to go to get very quiet. I guess it's still attracting a lot of eyes on Twitter and YouTube. I see tons of people asking me for ONDO, so there is a lot of attention, and I would say that that is not necessarily something we actually want. The best setups are when things become quiet. But yeah, this is a very resilient performing asset. You can see higher highs and higher lows. Unfortunately, it's been listed very recently. Therefore, I don't have much more before this. We can have a look at what other people are currently saying about ONDO in terms of ideas. Let's look at this one. ONDO is showing relative strength amid the broader altcoin pullback, holding key levels and now pulling into the 50 cents support zone. This area lines up for a possible RSI bullish divergence, which could spark the next leg up. Take profit targets 85, 113, 134. Those are highlighted in here. Interestingly, none of them are going beyond the previous high of $2. And there's a stop loss with a daily close below 0.42. That is the ultimate support according to this idea. If we look at the chart, you can see that multiple times we have pinched there, even go to the 50, but we end up closing the day beyond that. A close below 60 cents, in my opinion, is a complete failure. Let's look at the second idea and let's see what we got. There is a support trend line that I haven't spotted, but it makes a lot of sense now that I see it. And this one is the blue one, the downward sloping one, is showing that maybe we face resistance at 92, we get another move down with a higher low, and potentially that could be the actual better entry into targets of $175 and $240. I guess they're doing some Fibonacci extensions to get this level because that level is higher than the previous high. Let's go into liquidation levels. There are two interesting levels in ONDO for liquidations. The first one is the most evident in here after these highs of 90 cents. There was tons of shorts entering in here, thinking that this is a great opportunity to bring the price for a retest after having rallied all the way from 66 to 93. Once taking the liquidity around this area, we got higher liquidity located at around 136. And there is liquidity but less concentrated all the way up until 17. ONDO Finance is making progress in bringing real-world assets on-chain, and its CEO discussing the potential for tokenized assets to be introduced this year. The company is setting new standards for an on-chain finance through infrastructure and products like OUSG, a benchmark for instant tokenized US treasuries liquidity. ONDO is gaining attention as a leading RWA token, with many believing it has potential for growth and is leading the charge in bringing stocks and ETFs on-chain. Pretty cool stuff. So one of the side effects of the crash with Mantra token OM is that there's been a shift towards ONDO. And of course, after a 90% down in OM, investors shift focus into ONDO, leading to a 4% increase. I would have expected a little bit more, but still, technical indicators like a golden cross and improved checking money flow suggest bullish momentum. ONDO has now become the third largest real-world asset token by market cap. Allegations of artificially inflated TVL surface. And I guess this is a bearish one. The TVL is a tokenomics indicator that shows how much value is actually locked and is used generally to have an idea of the value and how sustainable is a specific coin. The more value is locked, the more bullish a coin is, in simple words. And Quinn Thompson is saying that the team could be cycling funds to create an illusion of our organic growth, questioning the sustainability of ONDO 7 billion fully diluted valuation. And I guess these are questions that definitely are gonna arise during times where we get these crashes of 90% in the competitors. I'm not saying it's true or it's false, but there's a strong point here being made. And the point is, do not invest on any of these assets with money that you cannot afford to lose. Overnight, any of them can completely go bankrupt. So no matter how bullish something looks, do it always with a small percentage of your account. People are noticing the 37% correction and the recovery, which in my opinion still is mild. ONDO Finance announced to launch the ONDO chain, a new layer 1 blockchain designed for institutional grade RWA, specifically targeting US treasuries and other financial products. ONDO recognized among the top US-based currencies, and of course, thanks to the support from Trump on US-based currencies, many of them are seeing positive results. So similar to Algorand, ONDO needs to reclaim, in this case, 87 cents. 90 cents is very important. There is liquidity that is attracting the price into that area, just in the same way that Bitcoin is being attracted to 90 and 89. So I will say Bitcoin gets there, then ONDO finally gets out after this 5 to 6 week battling with that resistance, so it can get into 118, which is the revenge rally. Notice that the revenge rally on ALGO is about to come to an end. We need just to kick it a little bit where it hurts, and Algorand is gonna jump back up above that lost support, whereas ONDO is still halfway through towards getting to challenge the same equivalent level. That's not necessarily something bad. In my opinion, ONDO has the advantage of still having room to get into that resistance. Algorand is battling with the resistance at the moment. So it all depends on what type of trade you want to take. The breakout trade on the weekly on Algorand, or the rally into the resistance, and then paying attention what happens with the resistance on ONDO. And now we're looking at KASPA. This is listed on MEXC exchange, and for a long time I look at this performance in here, and I repeated that we were going to have some sort of pullback, but at the moment we are in here putting a very similar pattern on the weekly as Bitcoin. So we can say that KASPA is very likely to mimic whatever Bitcoin is going to do. The neckline is precisely at the resistance of 0.80 cents, and the support is at 53. We can see that the price has already put 2 candles beyond the breakout area of the trend line, and the RSI has not done that. So watch out for that. If you've been watching the channel, you know what I mean. There is a rolling over in here that looks bullish, but the question is it bullish enough to meet with the RSI resistance on the weekly at 51 and then see a rejection there, and therefore price also being rejected? Or is the momentum gonna join the party with the price and break out slightly later relative to the price? You know that I prefer momentum to break out first and then price, but I've been in a few bunch of situations where it's the opposite, and I pull out and then price carries on going still. It's a matter of probabilities, not certainties. Unfortunately, that's the world where we are trading in. If we manage to get beyond the 80, then we have resistance at 100, basically 0.1 cents. Then there is this level of 11.7, which to be more precise is slightly lower. Let's put it at RSI 51, and it's actually 11 cents. And it's in confluence with all this area in here of support. Right after the 10 cents, the 11 cents happens to be also very tough level, because it was holding all this area of rolling over. Very similar to XRP as well, that has like 2 levels that create actually a chunk, not a single line. And in this case, it's between 10 and 11. That is going to be really tough. That is where the weekly RSI is going to meet with 51. Longs and shorts are just oscillating around the same levels. Very interesting that there's no spikes that are significant enough to exit this range, except for this one in November 2024. At the moment, we are closer to the low of the range rather than the highs. And socials are in a very good spot. We are at 14th of April, and we are about to touch the bottom of the Bollinger Band in the socials, similar to what we did on the 21st of October. And this divergence of no one caring and price going into the resistance could be a great combination. Although I would never enter right underneath that resistance. I will wait either for a breakout or a rejection, and my 50%, 67 could be another entry. But remember, do not take the levels, write them down, go away and say, hey, that failed. I do not leave these levels in a limit order and forget myself. I put alerts at those levels and I look for what's going on in the market. And that's why you probably come back to my video and you ask me, did you actually enter? And sometimes my response is, no, there was something really bad going on and I decided it wasn't a great idea to enter at that level. So these are not levels that I just set and forget, unfortunately. That happened, for example, with Solana. Ideas on KASPA from other people. Cas bear is over. Getting ready for a reversal with the upcoming 10 BPS in May and smart contract after. Perfect timing for going to 0.5. That is a big target getting into 0.5. And I wonder why he picked that specific level. I guess it's a one extension maybe or something like that. Also, this pattern, the target is way lower and we haven't visited that level. So I wonder why he's highlighting the bearish pattern but not really calling for continuation to downside. We got this other one that is calling for a visit of the 7A6 Fibonacci retracement, possibly before shooting back up. And this chunk in here is between 53 and 31. That is an order block that was responsible for the strongest wave to the upside. These other analysts that is using moving average to trade is talking about this area in here, this pinch of that precise level right above the lower low in this area. This is on the 4-hour time frame, and he says this rebound from key support paired with growing volume hints at renewed buying interest. Could be a sign of strength returning to CASP. Guys, if you want to trade these coins on a non-KYC exchange and just take 1 minute to open your account, fund it, no need to do the KYC. Have a look at my link in the description for the exchange Bluffing. Currently is offering with that link a 10% cashback and multiple premium rewards as well. And if you want to trade with $500 for free, have a look at my position airdrop link in the description for Bybit. You can trade any of these assets, BTC, Ethereum, Solana, or the Pepe, Doge, Sui, XRP, ONDO, and WIF. You just need to click the link and register to claim, and you receive the airdrop of $500. In just about an hour, we're going to have another session with the Elite Premium members in my Patreon. Elite members get to choose which altcoins they want me to do TA, but not just that, they join a live stream that is private, a small group of people, and I even invite people to be able to talk live with camera, share screen, and audio. The video goes live the day after so everybody can watch it publicly. You can join still the Elite, there's still time, just 1 hour. Next week, there won't be a weekly Elite TA. Unfortunately, I'm gonna take a week off next week, so watch out for that if you join for Elite. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this type of videos, make sure that you have already hit the like and write down a comment down below. That always helps the channel. See you on the next one. Bye bye.